Hello there. My name is Mint, my pronouns are he, they, and welcome back to another video. If it's not welcome back and you're just stumbling upon my channel, welcome to my descent into madness. This is how I document it, and today we're draping and patterning a vest. We started out by going to the fabric store, so I will let Mint from the past guide you in that direction. Alright, we're getting fabric. I haven't been to a fabric store in ages now, so we're going to a nice local fabric store, pick up some stuff we are doing a sort of Regency-inspired outfit for a bachelorette party. So I'm grabbing some stuff for me and for my husband, and yeah, let's see what they've got. We're on a strict budget also. We're gonna be as inexpensive as possible, so we'll see how that goes. Also, look at these beautiful brocade satins. They were, so pretty. It took a lot of effort to decide which one I wanted to get. Alright, we went just a little bit over budget because I forgot about like tax and stuff like that. So we've got all of our stuff. We've got our brocade satin in 2 colors. We have some polyester broadcloth to use for muslin for draping. We've got zippers. We've got thread, everything that we need, like 50 bucks. So I was hoping to spend like between 30 and 40, but I'm pretty happy with what I got. I also got some tailor's chalk, which I have been needing for ages. So yeah, let's go home and do some draping. All right, let's get started. So first we're gonna take another project that I'm working on off of Tiffany, who is my mannequin. And let's start by doing a little draping tutorial. So I'm gonna start off by ripping some rectangles of fabric out on the straight grain. So I'm gonna pay attention to make sure the fabric gain is going straight up and down as I put it on the mannequin. So I'm gonna take my first piece, just the side of the center, pin it to the dress form, and at this point I can start making sure where I want my neckline as well as my waistline to be and start marking that. I just use tailor's chalk to do this. There are many tools you can use this. Some people use literally just like a pencil or a pen, or if it is a like non-permanent thing, you can even use a Sharpie. If you're just making a toile that you're not going to actually turn into a finished garment. So, basically, once I'm happy with my lines, I then like to either rip or cut the pieces, leaving about a 1/2 inch of allowance from my marking spot, in case I need to make adjustments. Most of draping is just an art. It is figuring out what you want the whole thing to look like and just adjusting the pattern pieces accordingly until you're happy with the end result. Taking it down, pinning it, or sewing it together, putting it back up on the mannequin, and sort of doing that back and forth and back. I do want to clarify, this is the like chill, easy version of draping. This is not necessarily like technically correct or accurate. This is me making something in one day that I had to do very quickly because I didn't plan ahead. So I am just sort of winging it, doing what feels right, and going from there. I know I'm going to be making a lot of adjustments and flat patterning to this, and I'm also making a vest, which is not going to be like incredibly fitted to the body, so I'm not really worried about it being like skin tight. So I also make sure to label each pattern piece because when you take them off the form, they can look really, really similar. So I make sure to label like 1, 2, 3, 4 on all my pattern pieces. Digitizing my pattern real quick. So now let's go into flat patterning. So I do this digitally. I just use the program Procreate, which is not a patterning program, it's an art program. But what I do is I just take pictures of my pattern pieces flat on the floor with a straight ruler as a guide. And then I bring that picture into Procreate on a file where I know the exact size of it. I know that due to previous experience and a lot of wiggly wobbling to figure this out, I have a Procreate file where I know that my grid on there is exactly half an inch, like per square on the grid. So I use that, and then I just bring my photo in there and I match the ruler up to the size of the grid so that everything I know is accurate. When I project it, it'll match up. And then after that, it's just a matter of digitally truing up the pattern. So I'm making all the straight lines straight, the curved lines a beautiful curve, and just sort of cleaning it up and making everything look nice. And then lastly, I do add a 1/2 inch seam allowance to the full piece. Now it's time to make a toile. This is also just called a sample, a toile. It's a piece that you make for testing out. It's not going to turn into a finished piece ever. It's just going to be something that you mess with, drape with, do whatever with to make it fit right. You're not worried about the fabric on this. So I do use my projector to project my digital pattern. I did use some polyester broadcloth that I got at the fabric store, and I got it for nice and cheap, so that's what I use often. Typically when I'm making a toile, I use either polyester broadcloth or a bed sheet that I got at Goodwill, honestly. So if you see a white toile, that's probably one of those two things from me. And then I cut the pieces out accordingly, and then I stitch them together just using a really long stitch on my machine and not back stitching at the beginning and end, so I can pull it back apart if I need to. And then we try it on. This is when I mark some adjustments, make sure everything fits right. I did end up making quite a few adjustments on this. In the end, it turned out that I kind of overcorrected actually, so I would be careful about that. Make sure that you make a second toile if you're making huge adjustments, make a second toile with the adjustments that you've made so that you can make sure that it fits right, because I ended up going straight into my fashion fabric and then I had to make a second one that fit differently. Once I've made my markings on my toile, I'll go ahead and transfer those markings to digital, which includes a lot of mumbling. Stitching line over by 1.5. Which is why I don't do pattern making in public, because I look like I'm crazy. And then we have a finished pattern, so then we move on to the fashion fabric, which will be another video, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.